Sometimes nature unleashes its wrath on us with such force that it does not seem enough. Hail the size of a chicken egg, rain of spiders and deadly sea waves. After such cataclysms, it is difficult to survive. I present to you the 9 most dangerous natural phenomena in the world. Don't try your luck, subscribe to my channel and you will learn a lot of new things. And remember, maybe you witnessed historical events. I, for example, remember very well how winter hail came in Russia in the summer. 14. That year, the weather in most of Russia was unusually extreme. In the summer, snow suddenly fell in some central regions. Hail in Novosibirsk forced beach lovers to abandon everything and seek shelter. Footage shows holidaymakers trying to escape from a sudden strong wind with hail that hit them. The temperature at this point dropped from +40 to +20 degrees. People can be heard screaming, and the relentless hurricane seems to never end. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Locust infestation only seems harmless. It is called the most devastating migratory pest in the world, and not without reason. A swarm covering an area of 1 square kilometer per day can eat enough food to feed 35,000 people. When locusts increase from harmless solitary individuals, these insects turn into fearsome multi-million strong swarms that destroy precious pastures and crops. The largest infestation of pests happened in East Africa from Kenya locusts through Ethiopia and Yemen, reaching as far north as India. The swarm included many young individuals that were more voracious. The sky was black from locusts. This invasion was the worst in the last 70 years and deprived the local people of most of the harvest. Entomologists saw this as a kind of warning from nature. The winter of 1936, which is good for the Russian, that the Americans are having a hard time. This is how I would say about the frosts of winter in Minnesota at the beginning of the 20th century. This is North America, were a difficult test. Visitors who heard about the terrible weather soon realized that these stories were true. The winter of 1936 was one of the coldest in the history of North America. Frost began in the eastern part of the United States in December. In the state of Florida, temperatures reached a record -40 degrees in some places. Due to strong winds, it dropped to -65. Being on the street was dangerous. There were no cases of anyone getting lost or freezing within a few feet of home that winter, but people experienced difficulties due to interruptions in cars, trains, and power outages. That winter was so cold that the locals still remember it. We wouldn't need your difficulties, although no. The most powerful tornado in history, but this is an absolute record: 74 tornadoes in less than 24 hours. This is how nature raged in the states of Kansas and Oklahoma in 1999. At the same time, 4 tornadoes were recorded on Earth. The strongest of category F5, this is the maximum possible, lasted an hour and a half. When the sky cleared, it turned out that 800 people were injured. More than 8,000 houses were damaged. The total damage amounted to almost $1.5 billion, and losses less than could be. Scientists from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration National Laboratory of Severe Storms have, it turns out, both such and Weather Service experts predicted the appearance of this tornado, spent on upgrading the National Weather Service. The funds paid for themselves in one go. Researchers estimated that more than 600 lives were saved as a result of timely and accurate warning of impending danger. The hottest heat in history, but this year our idiot also turned out to be special. It's hard to forget him. Then, in 2010, the entire west of the country suffered from stifling heat. It was the most anomalous heat wave in 33 years, as people across Russia had to contend with numerous natural disasters, drought in the southern part of the country, and raging fires in western Russia and eastern Siberia. All this happened against the background of unusually hot weather. The temperature in some areas reached +40 degrees of heat was caused by a blocking anticyclone. This is when an area of elevated atmospheric pressure increases to such an extent that other air masses cannot pass through. Peak temperatures can persist for weeks or even months, as the heat has dried up and burned crops. Economic losses are estimated at 110.5 billion rubles. Rain of spiders. And this phenomenon is completely fantastic. Millions of spiders rain down on Australia like a balloon rather than using cobwebs to catch the airflow on the way to a new home and cover the area with cobwebs along the way. This is a natural phenomenon I would try to avoid. It may inspire a science fiction horror writer, but in fact it is a common part of spider migration. They still knew scientists of Darwin's time. Such flights on the spider saw not only in Austria, they meet their northern hemisphere. Flying spiders have been seen in the US, UK, but this happens rarely. Spiders do not pose a danger to humans. They do not control their movement, but can travel for many kilometers. This explains why spiders can be found all over the world, even on islands in the middle of the ocean. Rainfall in the form of lizards in Florida. I think the cold is not so scary if it does not lead to more serious consequences. In January in Florida, residents were asked to beware of large green lizards that will fall from trees. As predicted, the drop in temperature led to the fall of iguanas, and so it happens, iguanas receive energy from the heat of the sun, and in such weather freeze to winter. They are simply not adapted when the temperature drops. These cold-blooded creatures become motionless, can no longer cling to trees and just fall from them. But do not worry, iguanas do not die in winter. Their body still performs basic functions. You can say they fall into hibernation. This is their way of protecting against low temperatures. When it gets warmer, they come to their senses. At the end of 2019, two unusual hornets with orange and black stripes and long stings were spotted in Washington state. These were Asian giant hornets, or killer hornets, the largest in the world, up to 5 cm in length. How did these insects get to America? Researchers cannot figure out until now. Most likely, the Shersh did not accidentally get into the shipping containers. Asian giant hornets from Japan and East Asia have already established themselves as invaders. And species in other countries, such as South Korea. This species forms colonies consisting of a single queen and workers that fly many kilometers away from the hive. To find food, they feed on various insects, but prefer bees, and in a few hours can destroy entire hives of honeybees. It is clear that their appearance worried beekeepers with Hesh-ah. Deadly water tornadoes. Tornadoes are what to stay away from. They can scare even the most experienced skippers. A tornado forms over water or begins as a regular tornado on land and then moves to the water surface, continuing to rotate around a vertical axis. Rotating motion raises a water column from the sea. An incredible sight. You can see a spiral coming out of the sea, rising to the sky. These images were taken off the coast of Valencia, Spain. The tornado is approaching the shore and terrorizes locals and tourists. In the video, a meteorologist states that nothing like this has happened in more than 10 years. If a tornado moves ashore, the National Weather Service warns of tornadoes and possible damage. Our geographical position has saved us from precipitation. The appearance of iguana spiders. We're not threatened by drive deaths, but otherwise we need to be on our guard. Nature, like a real woman, can rage at any moment.